All right. So, slides. Okay, now, about 2 years ago, Srila Gurudev ordered me to get a batch of artists together and make drawings for those of you who've been in Vrindavan and Mathura and have seen bas-relief paintings done by some Bengali sculptors of Krishna Lila and Chaitanya Lila. So Gurudev called for the same team of Bengali sculptors, but in order to have, and they made bas-reliefs at our brand new Govardhan temple. But Gurudev also wanted another set of bas-reliefs, but in his mood, not the general, normal Indian style, but in his own mood. So he asked us to do about 30 drawings that the Bengali sculptors would work from, and then they would sculpt, sometimes 10 feet wide, sometimes 5 feet wide, some of them are even 15 feet wide. And we would do the drawings, and then they would make the sculptings, and I understood for him that they would also make the paintings. But then after the sculptings were done, Gurudev told us also to make the paintings, to get a batch of artists together and make the paintings. So you'll see them when you come for Kartik this year. Big bas-relief wall paintings at Govardhan. So we thought that because we came from ISKCON, where after Prabhupada's departure, the temples, most of the temples went in the hands of persons who don't allow the pure devotee to go. So we thought that whatever happens in the future to any of Gurudev's temples, 25 years down the line, however many years down the line, of course I asked Gurudev about that. We're doing so much work for your Govardhan temple. Will the same things happen that happened to Prabhupada's temples? So he said, I am doing this for bhakti. He said, I'm not worried, you shouldn't worry. I am doing this for bhakti, and therefore bhakti will come out of it. Even though the temple of Srila Rupa Goswami, that is Radha Govinda temple in Vrindavan, was desecrated by Muslims, still people can go there and get the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami. So this Govardhan temple has so much the presence of Srila Gurudev that no matter what happens, people will get Gurudev. Well, just as they can get Prabhupada in his temples, unless they hear the wrong thing. Even if they hear the wrong thing, by getting Prabhupada's books and his association, by his tapes and all, the Sukritis build up, and then they'll come to Gurudev to get Prabhupada in the whole disciple succession anyway. So, so Gurudev said, don't worry, because I did it for bhakti, bhakti will come out of it. But because I'm thinking, just in case anything goes wrong at any time, let me also make the drawings themselves usable and available as a finished product. Just like the paintings that we did for Prabhupada's books went in his temples, and now those temples don't allow the pure devotee to go, or even his name to be mentioned. So the drawings that we did for the temple we're also using in Gurudev's books and distributing them separately. For example, Indu Bhusam Prabhu, you have those? Oh no, you have them? Yeah, okay. Yeah, can I have one set? So just for the festival here, what you'll be seeing on the slides, we Xerox some of them, A3 size, and we have them as sets. You can keep showing the slides as well. We Xeroxed about 11 of them, from which were used, which Gurudev used in his Gita Govinda book, which were all done exclusively under his guidance, very strict, strong guidance. Sometimes if I wasn't getting the drawings right, he wouldn't speak to me for a month until until they started coming out right. And every time I would show him one of them, like this one at the earlier stages, when I was showing him this, he said, I don't have time, I have to go give class, no time to tell you anything. Until it started looking right, and then he started giving more time. Of course, he was giving the time internally, and then when they started looking right, he started giving the time externally. So these are various pastimes that I'll tell you about. And so these are available in sets over, and again, all the profits go to the Navadvip temple. So if you'd like to see an Angamanjari later, you can get them either as sets or in parts. So Gurudev told me that I want you to make them in serials. Serial means sometimes you see in the Christian pictures. No, because people sit on that too, right? You see sometimes in the Christian paintings they have a series of pastimes of Lord Jesus as a triptych. So he wanted doubles and triptychs of these pastimes. So for example, this is Krishna as in the disguise of a boatman, and he's inviting the gopis to come on his old boat because they have to get across the river to a sacrifice. And then, once they're on the boat, Krishna starts rocking the boat and says you have to take off, you have to throw off the boat, your heavy ornaments and your, do we have this one? I think we have this as one of them. Huh? Okay, you have to throw off your yogurt pots. Then they did that, and then he said you have to throw off your heavy ornaments because the boat is sinking. And then Radharani became afraid and held on to the neck of Krishna, which was his whole purpose of performing the boat leela in the first place. And this painting is about 15 feet long in Govardhan on the Parikrama path. Okay. And after the class, you can come and look at them closely if you want and see the details. This is also a triptych. It's Radha and Krishna and the gopis playing Jalkali, or pastimes in the Radha Kund, splashing, competition splashing pastimes. And then, what's not shown here, which is on the paper though, is the manjaris drying and beginning to dress Radha and Krishna and the other gopis. And then this one, as the third of the triptych, is Radharani and her Sakis decorating Krishna with ornaments and sometimes unguents, designs made of kumkum or musk or blue scent. And she's making a very beautiful flower crown. And this is, unfortunately we don't have a slide of the first one, but this is Dan Keli Lila, which is the gopis are going to the other side of Dangati, the other side of Dangati for a fire sacrifice to give their butter and yogurt, because the sages have said that anyone who gives butter and yogurt, all their desires will be fulfilled. So the gopis were, oh there it is, the gopis were going, and Krishna and his friends, coward friends, pretend to be like guards, tax collectors, toll collectors. And they said you have to pay a toll for your butter and yogurt and you have to give so much. And they said, well, how is it that you think that this is your Vrindavan? This is actually Vrinda's Vrindavan, and Vrinda Devi gave Vrindavan to Radharani, so the whole joking pastime. And then the gopis wanted to retaliate the insult, so they waited till there was just a few coward boys at Dani Vartan Kund and thousands of gopis. So they grabbed the boys and began boxing their ears and tying their sikas to trees. And as for Krishna himself, they grabbed him, put on a gopi dress, on top of his own dhoti, forcibly put a pot of yogurt on his head. One of them threw a rock which hit the yogurt, and all the yogurt splashed all over Krishna's face and clothes. And Krishna's in anxiety and defeated, and Radharani's there on this side smiling, and all the gopis are smiling and clapping. And the boys, and you can see the coward boys, they're feeling that their life is completely finished. Okay. And then the third of the triptych is what Gurudev likes the most. Is that the one coming up? Krishna surrendering to Radharani. Krishna falling down at the feet of Radharani and offering obeisances. That's one of the ones here too. And Radharani is sitting on a rock with two or three of her sakis, and she's saying, Kalyana Bhavastu, Mangala Bhavatu, Kalyana Bhavatu. Blessings to you, blessings. All auspiciousness to you. And you can see his hair is still dripping with the yogurt. Now, we only have about 20 of these sets, so there's a short supply. But you can also, it's not that they're under copyright. It's not that they're under copyright and you can't. They're under copyright, but it's not that you can't distribute them to other devotees. So you can also Xerox them and distribute them to other devotees. Okay. Huh? Yeah. They're under copyright for bad people. Okay, next. Is that all these? Is that all the slides there are? Huh? Okay, we'll talk about paintings. And she'll sometimes show new slides, so it'll be a multimedia presentation. She'll just, on her own, as she feels fit, go from one slide to another, and I'll be talking about the paintings. Yes? Yes? Loudly? Oh, that reminds me. Is there a Gita Govinda here in Prabhu? Can you get it?
No. So.
Okay. But these three paintings, this one, and Radha alone, and Radha with the pots, are the three pastime paintings in Gurudev's Gita Govinda book. Yes, I'm sorry. What? What? Oh, that's okay. You're a good person. Good. Okay, it's fine. Good. Okay. So we're at Venugit. Okay? Now, Venugit here. This painting was also done explicitly under Gurudev's guidance, and as usual, where's Gornatai? Yeah, maybe another mantra, you want to hold up Gornatai? You've seen the Gornatai painting on the covers of several of Gurudev's books. And now it's available as a G-Play also. And this again, also I forgot to mention that the original paintings are also available. The actual original paintings are available. And for that, they would contact Bhakti Projects. So, they're for sale. And for that, it's www.bhaktiprojects.com. Okay. So Gaur Nitai, Gurudev posed for Gaur Nitai. And maybe his eyes like that, his hands like that, his feet like that. And he said this would be a painting for worship. And at first, when I was bringing in the drawings, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda were in the front of, there was one tree only, not all those people. And Gurudev was giving suggestions, and I was bringing him the sketches and the color sketches. And Then I brought him the painting when the painting was started, and he was giving more suggestions. And then when the painting was half finished, and it was already a month down the line, he said, "No, you should take out the tree and put in thousands of kirtaniyas." So the Guru can say it's a rope, it's a snake, no problem. So then we took out the tree and put in the thousands of kirtaniyas. And then one day when we were in the middle of it, I asked Gurudev, I didn't want to ask him, "Are you there?" So I asked, are the devotees in our disciplic succession there, like Bhaktivedanta Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, are they there? He said, "Yes, they're there." And then one of my godbrothers was there. So in order to get the attention off of him, he said, "And he's there, and I'm there." So Gurudev is also there. And to know which one is Gurudev, then you have to do bhajan. And also, one of them is Gurudev also in the Seva Kunj picture. But Gurudev told me not to tell anybody. And he said they will understand from bhajan. So if you want to get also a painting of the Gurudev, you can also get that Seva Kunj painting. So, and Gurudev signed, he signed these G-clays. So you have Gurudev's signature on them too. But the ones that Bhakti projects have, they're numbered and signed by Gurudev, myself also, but the big thing is that they're signed by Gurudev also. Limited edition. And that you can get from Bhakti projects. Or Bhakti Srimad. So, and the reason that Gurudev asked me to do this painting in the first place was because he said it just the day before Janmashtami in Mathura, every year Gurudev would have a big procession, and tens of thousands of Mathura residents would line the streets just like they do for parades here in the West. And Gurudev would go on a horse and chariot. There'd be elephants and I think camels maybe? At least elephants, I don't remember. And then the deities, the Radha and Krishna, would be on a big chariot also. And he wanted this also on the chariot, Kodatai, so that's why he told me to paint it. And then it also, he put it in his books. Okay. And Venugit. Venugit also came from his instruction, his posing, and he told me what to put in each part of the canvas. That is, he said that Baladev should be going forward because the elder brother is something like in Vatsalya Bhav, and they're not supposed to be around when the husband and wife are engaged in their pastimes, what to speak of a girlfriend and boyfriend, which is totally against the Vedic culture. So Gurudev said Baladev is going ahead, but you can see by his eyes that he knows, he can see what's going on, because his eyes are facing back. So all the older coward boys, like Baladev, are ahead, and the coward boys that are the same age as Krishna, the Priya Narsakas, they're way in the back. Gurudev went like this, and they're calling, "Krishna, look at us, look what we're doing," just to make Krishna go slower. So that he'll be separated from the two sets of coward boys, and in that way he can exchange secret loving glances with Radharani and her Sakis. So all the different parts of this painting are the various verses. All the verses in Venugit are covered by various parts of this painting. For example, the gopis are glorifying the Jamuna river because she's able to be out there when Krishna's herding the cows and hold up lotus flowers in her wave-like hands. So if you look closely, you can see the wave-shaped like hands and offering lotus flowers. And the gopis are glorifying the cows because the cows also are able to see Krishna during the day when he goes out cow herding, and they're able to hear Krishna's flute playing and drink, and Gurudev posed for the cows too, and held up his hands like this to show that their ears are like cups, and with those cups they drink the nectar of Krishna's flute playing, and then by that they take Krishna into his heart, into their hearts, and embrace him in motherly affection. And the calves are, you'd have to look a little bit closer. The calves are underneath the cows' bodies and drinking the milk from the udders of the cows. And because they're also hearing Krishna's flute playing, they don't swallow the milk, but the milk is half swallowed and half dribbling down the sides of their mouths, because they're also stunned in ecstasy. So the gopis are lamenting that the cowherd boys, the rivers, the clouds, the deer, they all get to see Krishna all day long, and we're so unfortunate that we're bound by social custom and our vows to our husbands that we're not able to see Krishna during the day. So because of their full absorption in Krishna and his pastimes, they're seeing him actually with their eyes of their emotions. And because of the full absorption in their songs, the songs of Venugit, they actually end up in their song. And they end up in the pastimes, in the forest, and they're the ones who are exchanging glances with Krishna. Okay. Next is Radharani alone. These three paintings, Radharani alone and Krishna appealing to Radharani with the pots, and this one of something like Sevakunj, but this is at Radhakund. Krishna trying to break the man, or transcendental loving anger, of Srimati Radhika. So this one was the first one that was done for the Gita Govinda painting series. This was previously a line drawing, and then Gurudev asked for the English version. We did a line drawing for his Hindi Gita Govinda, and he wanted as many paintings as we could do before the printing of the English translation. So this was also done under Gurudev's direction, even up to the dimple on Radharani's elbow. Before that dimple was there, Gurudev said her elbow is not quite right, so you should put something there to make her elbow completed. And all the colors of everything, the expressions, the tears, the scratching of the ground by an angry lover is all under Srila Gurudev's guidance. And he said about this that Radharani looks like a Paka Vaishnava. Paka Vajpasana. And then when we were finished with the painting, almost finished, we showed it to Gurudev at Kartik time. And then he himself called for the painting during one of his classes when there's about 700 or 800 devotees there. And he himself held up the painting. And he says, so everyone should help the art department with whatever talents or abilities you have. And if you're artists, you can certainly help by painting. And so these ones, the G-clays are already gone, but you can order the G-clays. And you can see the superiority of the G-clays over the normal posters that are on their tables. But the price range is a lot different too. Okay. Now, we come to this one of Gita Govinda, of Radha sitting alone. This also came from the line drawing. It was also done under Gurudev's direction. And he said that Radharani is thinking here that what is the use of my life if Krishna is not here to enjoy it? Fie on my life, fie on my all fancy ornaments, fie on my beautiful garments, is all wasted. Better a thunderbolt should come on my head, should strike my head, because there's no purpose in having a head and a whole human life that's not having Krishna's association. Okay, then also there's an entire chapter describing this scene of Radha alone in Gita Govinda, which I think you can also get from Bhakti's store, the book Gita Govinda. And there Krishna has also come late, and Radharani is imagining that Krishna is with another gopi. And as she's imagining that Krishna is engaging in amorous pastimes with that other gopi, actually that same thing is happening to Radharani at that moment because of her absorption in that scene. So in the spiritual world, separation and meeting go on simultaneously, ever increasing forever. Okay, and then the third painting, that's this here. This was the line drawing. And there's the painting. And this is also described, in a whole chapter of Gita Govinda. That is, Radharani left the Rasa arena because Krishna was enjoying with so many gopis. And she left in a huff, in Man, and as soon as she left, Krishna begins repenting. And he drops whatever he's doing, he leaves the other gopis, and he goes out searching for her. And he's lamenting so much and weeping, and feeling tremendous separation from her. And as he's fully absorbed in her like that, he's beginning to see her in visions. Just like a devotee in Bhava Bhakti, they're weeping and feeling so much separation from Radha and Krishna, rolling on the ground in separation, wailing, hair standing on end, that spurtis come, which is a momentary vision of the pastimes. And they see themselves in the pastimes, and then that disappears, then they experience more separation, then they get an even stronger spurti, and that's the way Bhava Bhakti turns into Prema Bhakti. So where does this begin from? Janmad Yasya Yutaha. Everything starts from Krishna himself. So Krishna is roaming through the forest, totally devastated and absorbed in mad separation. And then he starts getting spurtis. He starts seeing visions of Radharani, coming and going, coming and going. And then they come more and more. And he starts praying to Radharani that you're here. I see you everywhere. I only see you everywhere. And at the same time, why aren't you embracing me? Why aren't I experiencing your full presence? Why am I still dying in separation? So here, Krishna is becoming so absorbed in that vision that he's entering the vision. Now he's in the pastime with Radharani. While he's still feeling separation, he's fully in the pastime. And he just happens to be there at Radha Kund when Radharani goes to get water with her 2 water pots. And now he's so happy being in that, he's entered into the pastime by his consciousness, by his moods. And he's saying, "Oh Radharani, I see that you're carrying 2 very heavy pots. Can I help you with one?" And Radharani says, no, thank you. You're a debauchee, and I'm not interested in your help at all. I'm a chaste housewife. Then as far as the Bhagavad Gita, we'll go back to Bhagavad Gita. So these pictures are all very good meditations for japa, and just when you're walking around your house or temple. And they also make very good gifts for bar mitzvahs, graduations, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, what? Funerals, new babies, when you're cultivating new people, when somebody's just given a giant donation to some project of Gurudev's or to your temple, and you want to give them a gift back, or you're trying to encourage some big donor to give a big donation. Huh? Doctor's appointments. Me and the center went to the doctor in Malaysia, first in Malaysia, then in San Francisco, then in Houston, and we paid with posters. That is posters and preaching and saying what they are and everything. You can't say I did it, like I can say, but you can say my sister did it. So, back to Bhagavad Gita. And also, if those of you who are going to separate cities, separate countries, and you know you'll be reaching out, you can get many of them, and there are wholesale prices. Okay, so back to the Bhagavad Gita. Gurudev also posed for the Bhagavad Gita paintings, believe it or not. He posed for Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Vyasadeva, Sanjaya, Krishna, Krishna, Arjuna, and who else? The horses. Yes, it's true. He posed for Krishna's horses. And it took about 10 poses, 10 times that he did it. Because at the time we were making it, we were traveling around the Gurudev's second world tour, second or first world tour, to Houston, where did we go? We went to Australia and Singapore and other countries. And we were doing the paintings while on tour. They were getting finished because Gurudev kept giving more and more guidance. So he kept posing for the horses, and he would make his eyes, just like Prabhupada in the beginning, he posed for the Lord Shringadev painting, made his eyes cross-eyed and going like this, and saying the prayer, Tava Kara Kamala, oh, in your lotus hands, you have long lotus nails with which you ripped apart the wasp-like demon, Hiranyakashipu. Similarly, Gurudev posed for the horses, made his eyes crossed, his teeth showing, and I could never get it right. And he just kept posing and made his arms up, like the horses were saying, stop talking already, it's time to go. It's time to fight. And then Gurudev told me that even when I was doing the horses, I was on his, sometimes outside your doorway there's like a patio. You're on the second floor and then there's a patio outside your door window. So Gurudev had that and I was painting. He invited me to paint on that patio. So he would come out every once in a while and pose or say something. And he told me to make the inside ears of the horses sham color. Because there's Krishna's special transcendental horses, divine horses. And he also, regarding Vyasadeva, is giving transcendental vision to Sanjaya, who later on spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra, as you see here, showing what he's seeing in his eyes of emotions. He's seeing Krishna on the battlefield 90 miles away. But the gopis' Bhavanetra, or their seeing through the eyes of their emotion, is billions of times more powerful. Jiva Pavan, are you here because Padmanabha Maharaj spoke to you, or you just came? You just came. Okay. So, Gurudev was explaining how the transcendental rays of Divya Dristi, transcendental vision, should come from Vyasadeva. And if I made Vyasadeva too muscular or too this or too that, he would have me change it. So all the details, even the pot, in Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur, the writing table, the pot, the pen, which is a homemade pen in those days. Okay, I guess we'll end here then and ask if there's any questions or comments. Where's your husband? He was supposed to come. Okay. Yes, yeah.
Where are the clouds?
Yeah, the clouds are behind the trees. You can't see them right now. Or can you? Yeah, they're behind the trees. Yes. Loud? Oh, the ones These ones for Gita Govinda were painted in watercolor, water-based oils, and the others were painted in regular. Gurudev told me in about 1990, about year 2000, to stop painting because the fumes were too dangerous. He said you'll be destroyed if you continue painting. And then 3 years later he said to start painting again. So when we went to the stores to buy the paint, we found that they had a new product called water-based oils. Where you can get practically the same results, but you don't use turpentine. Yes?
This middle picture,
Louder?
this middle picture is kept on the banks of Yamuna.
Radhakund. Gurudev said I should make all the Gita Govinda pictures at Radhakund and in the daytime. You see, Radhakund is, well, see, the trees are shading it, that's why it's dark. Because Radhakund is Radharani herself. So that because her mind is agitated with the rippling waves of her agitation, that's why Radhakund is so rippling like that.
And from
Midday pastimes, but it's shaded so it looks dark. Yeah. Louder?
When you're using your water-based oils, then what's the time scale factor on using them? Because with oils, after a period of time, of course, then the painting deteriorates. Does it have the same sort of...
I think it's not old enough to know. It's a new product.
It's new, so you wouldn't know with your told. How about the constituency and mixing? Is that the same as oils?
It's a little harder, but once you get the hang of it, it's okay.
You don't need to use any kind of mixing or oils with it, no.
Syamarani?
Yes.
Srila
Loud?
Prabhupada, when you did the comics, I heard that he said he didn't like the idea of Krishna as a cartoon. That we had to be very careful.
Yeah, even when making a drawing,
Yeah.
he shouldn't look like a cartoon character. It should look realistic. And that's why these ones are more realistic.
Yeah. But if with the current technology now, we could do character animation like...
If they look realistic, yes.
So if it's realistic, it's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what about the...
Loud?
Sorry. And so what about the Patachitra painting style?
What?
Because I don't know about it. That he told you that Krishna should look like realistic. And
The what style?
Patachitra from Odisha.
Oh, they're very stylized?
Like it's said that Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladeva are in this style.
Well, there are many, many Indian styles. One of the styles, which kind of looks like a woodcut, I did a painting of that, not under Prabhupada's direction. One Indian lady just gave me a picture that was this big, and I made a giant 5-foot painting of it in Montreal. And then I showed it to Prabhupada in New York, and he said they look ugly. Don't paint like this. So it depends on the particular one. I'd have to see that style to know. The stylized pictures that Kim and Chris Murray did for Prabhupada's illumination of the Gita, those he liked. Though they were stylized, they were very beautiful and sensitive and detailed. Any other questions or comments? Yes?
The picture of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, was the meditation always on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or was it first on Rupa Goswami?
No, actually, the question is the meditation always on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or was it originally on Rupa Goswami? Srila Gurudev told me to paint Rupa Goswami, but I was inspired by the Murti. He told me to paint Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but I was inspired by the Murti of Srila Rupa Goswami at Rupa Sanatana Gaudiya Math. So some aspects is like Rupa Goswami. Plus, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is an incarnation of Rupa Goswami. He came back to explain himself. Any last question?
You said that you were doing the painting while the Gurudev was annoying for maybe 1 or 2 months. So then how were you able to go onto the right track when you were getting no direct guidance?
I'll tell you. Yeah, the question is, if sometimes Gurudev would ignore me for a month or two, how do we end up getting any direction? Yeah. So this story is actually also beneficial for any of you who seem to be ignored by Gurudev. And I say seem to be with an underline. So first Gurudev told us to do the drawings. And then whenever I would start to show him the drawings, the first one I showed him was the Dangati drawing, because we had already begun that. Because the last time we were in Holland, there was a big lawn darshan. And maybe you remember Harinamananda Prabhu. Gurudev told me to do that painting of Dangati. Remember, because Bhaktivedanta had started one? So Gurudev told me to do that painting. So I already had a drawing underway. So I showed that to him in Mathura. And he acted like he had no time. And then I had to know certain questions about how to develop the drawings. So you were also there in Mathura. You know that at the end of his class in Mathura in the evening, the kirtan starts, and then sometimes devotees go up and talk to him, and whisper, and then he whispers back. So he was doing that with other devotees, and I had this very important question about like which drawing to do first. And when I went over to him, he said, but I was getting little smidgets here and there of what to do. And then we finally got about 15 or 20 drawings together and done by about 5 artists. We were all working together. And they were half-finished drawings. And then I said, now we're ready for the sculptor. And so Gurudev asked to see all the drawings. And then, that was the Govardhan drawings, I forgot. For the Gita Govinda drawings, I said, well, I have a translation of Gita Govinda, maybe I can get some ideas from that, some other person's translation. He said, no, you won't get anything out of it. I want you to use these Bengali line drawings and develop them further. They were the most ugly-looking, grotesque, gross things you've ever seen. And most of the time you couldn't even tell what was happening. That's how bad these Bengali drawings were. So, and sometimes Radharani didn't even have any clothes on. They were just terrible, A to Z, and sometimes she looked 40 years old. So I hesitated to use them because I couldn't even tell what they were. So I wanted to just read another translation and then get my own inspiration because I'd had so much experience. Gurudev said, you won't get anything from another translation. I thought, well, maybe I will. And these are terrible Bengali pictures anyway. So I did about 12 from that and showed it to him when we first arrived in LA. And he said, this is no good because of this is no good because of that, and you should have copied and I didn't even get the right mood from this bogus translation. So he said, I want you to use those ones. And then he stopped talking to me. And every time I would show him something, he would say, no, she looks 30 years old. No, this is too this. No, this is too that. And then I was, like burning inside. But finally I did it. But he was giving little smidgets of like an off the cuff. So then I started inking them a little bit. And then when I showed him that one of Radharani and Man, then he started liking it. And then after that he started giving me more and more attention. And then we were in Holland, he was still doing the pictures. Then he started giving a lot of attention. And then he started telling the stories. This one I showed him when it was half finished. Last time we had the Holland Festival, a few years ago. And then he started telling the story of what they were thinking. And I was showing him the Bengali ones. He said, no, change the background to that. Because sometimes the Bengali ones would just have a stairway and then the front of a building and then no sides or back of the building and then an entranceway going into a desert. It was like completely mad. So he said, no, change this into like that one of Radha and Krishna at the end. that just had one of those facades. Krishna was sitting on the steps. He looked about 10 years old. She looked like a big old gopi. And then there was the facade, and then just like a barren forest behind the doorway. So Gurudev said, change it to a forest. They're in a secluded place, like a river. So then he started giving more, and then he was, by the time we finished the Kijkduin paintings, he said, now I'm satisfied. Then he did the same thing over again with the Govardhan paintings. Off-the-cuff remarks. And then when I showed him the bunch of drawings, and we brought all the artists there, then he said, I have cheated you for this. Cheated means tricked. I have tricked you and, brought out all these emotions and made you have to go through different changes and, even if you're going to be like that with me, I'm going to still do the drawings for you anyway, kind of mood. And when are you going to stop this, kind of thing? But it's still working. I heard that, Harikesh, when he was serving Prabhupada, he told the story, the old Harikesh Maharaj. He told the story that when he was Prabhupada's servant, Prabhupada used to say everything that he typed was wrong and everything that he did was wrong. And he wouldn't do that with other people. So then Prabhupada kicked him out, and he said, just go and preach somewhere. So then he opened a center in Germany, and the whole big German Yatra came, and many other things. So then he started printing books, and he brought Prabhupada about 5 different translations. And then Prabhupada said, he rubbed his head and said, you thought I was rejecting you, but it was just for this, so that you do this wonderful thing. So similarly, Gurudev said, I have cheated you for this, so that all these things would come out. And I'll tell one quick story about Gurudev neglecting, which I tell everywhere in the world, and I'm sure I haven't heard already. In Australia in 1997, it was the first time he was going there, and ISKCON was making propaganda that you'll go to hell if you go see Narayana Maharaj. So there was one household couple who was come, but very carefully, and the wife immediately took to Gurudev, but the husband was still reticent. So she was talking to Gurudev, and he was giving his attention to her. And day by day, the husband was getting more and more interested, but Gurudev still kept talking to the wife and other people, and not talking to him. So by the time it was the last day of the festival, he was so, at the same time interested in Gurudev, and at the same time frantic and frustrated that Gurudev wasn't giving him attention. And at the end, Gurudev turned to him and said, I'm working on you. So if you feel neglected or not looked at, don't worry. Okay. Did Pamanam speak to you? Okay. Do you want to do anything? Yes. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. I mentioned it briefly. I told what Bhagavad Prabhu did in Houston. Bhagavad Prabhu raised $6,500 in about 5 minutes for the G-Clays, but we also had double-sized G-Clays. And he said if you make a $1,000 donation to Navadvip, you get the big one and $500 for this one. And for those who have less, then we also had a few smaller ones. And we had the originals also in Houston. So in Houston we had half the side was G-Clays and half the side was original paintings. And everybody could see that the G-Clays were either as good or better, literally, than the originals. And then the rest of the devotees took orders from the Bhakti store and Bhakti projects who were at the table. But I'm not so good at that. So Aristasana ordered one of Radha Krishna and Kamala ordered one of Srila Visnu that I'm not so good.
All right, well,
Yes.
He's asking one question. Why is Krishna crying on that painting?
Why is Krishna crying here? Because he's desperate. He's frustrated that Radharani won't listen to any of his appeals. And she's saying, I'm not interested in having any more relationship with you. You can go back to Chandravali or anybody else. But I'm finished, so Krishna's saying, I'll die if you don't forgive me.
Hare Krishna. Syamarani didi and me go a long way back.
He posed for the original Hiranyakashipu.
I think that says it all, doesn't it? I thought I did very well at the job. I was a natural. I could get into the mood. Playing the demons it's always much easier than playing the sadhu, isn't it? I may have, well, I'm not sure that I played Lord of Srimadev. I didn't have the Sukriti for that. I was saying we go a long way back. We were in Los Angeles together, and I was an assistant to Syamarani and the other artists, and we painted together. But we also went on Sankirtan together a lot. And back in those days, I don't know how many of you were around back in those days. Show of hands. All right, 2 or 3. Okay, so all you old timers over there, you know what it was like. Sometimes we would go out in the morning, and we would always have these things called quotas, and it was supposed to encourage us to reach for higher. So I've just been handed a job of presenting these paintings, presenting these giclées to you, trying to match what the Bhagavad Guru did in Houston. So good luck, right? Do you know what has Syamarani explained what a giclée is and why it's a collectible item? Okay, so you all know, for instance, that in the art world, it's now common practice for an artist who paints any kind of painting that's desirable to have limited editions of giclées made, and people pay very big amounts of money to have one of these. And the reason is that the technology which is used actually creates something which is as good as the painting, if not better. So in one sense better, because once the painting is made, it's scanned by a very high resolution scanner, and then you have technicians that adjust the color and the tone and the interaction of the colors, so it actually brings out all the natural color of the paintings. So the goal here today is to see which one of you would actually like to have one of these. And you know what? I have no idea how much they cost. Do we have a... Bring a little bit of order to the room just before you leave. Please, I have one more important announcement to make. This is not really a commercial enterprise, you should know that, because all the money that's being collected for these paintings is actually going to build the new temple in Navadvip. So really, in a sense, what you're doing is you're making a donation and creating auspiciousness for your spiritual life and your future life by helping to build the temple in Navadvip, but you're getting something back. You're getting a little bit of immediate reciprocation from Krishna and his devotees by having one of these in your house. This is a deity. It's so beautiful. Can you imagine having that in your meditation room, your temple room, in your home? How much that would, huh? What do you mean? Okay, well I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to take a Mahaprabhu, I'll go out of my way to make sure Gurudev signs one for you, okay? This one's already there. So, this one already has Gurudev's signature on it.
There's a few of them.
How many?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Is that extra money?
No.
Okay. You sure you don't want one signed by Gurudev, huh? This goes to Navadvip. Okay. You want this one also?
This picture, Krishna, the most beautiful
Krishna. Anyone else out there interested in painting?
space for Krishna and
You don't have to do it now if you don't have the money, but you can come up and ask your son how to contact her and how to place an order. You can also do it online at
but for meditation, why she told that the best picture
Anybody
is
else?
this one.
Any more hands?
Radharani and Krishna, because Gurudev don't want that we do it meditation when Radharani.
You have a little piece of stone in Gurudev's temple in Navadvip. Anybody on the edge thinking, should I, shouldn't I?
Okay.
One more. Let's do one more before we go on to the English Istadosi. Anyone?
Yeah?
Anyone out there? Prabhu? No? Okay. All right. You were thinking? Or you did?
On our website.
No.
You go to Pure Bhakti website. On that side, on the right side, it says
For her, okay. You thinking?
Syamarani or Jadharani.
Oh, go for it. Get Gurudev. I tell you, I'm going to go and tell Gurudev to read the names of all the people, all the devotees that have bought one today for Gurudev. So Gurudev will know the perfection. Okay, can she have this one? Yeah? She wants this one though. She wants it signed by Gurudev. 1,000! Oh, she just raised the price. Oh my God. That's not fair. You know what, I can tell you a story. She was the best Sankirtan devotee. She would go out and convince everybody, give to Krishna. 1,000 euros? Can you afford 1,000 euros? How about 750? I'll do a deal with you. I'll intervene for you. It's the only one she has. So you can half size. Yeah, we'll try to get signs. Okay? We'll try. How will everyone's asking? Will they be sent? Will they be collected now? How does that work? They'll be sent. They'll be posted. Okay, so they'll pay you. You'll take their address and their email address and telephone number and all that, and then you'll send it in the post by insured posta so that they make sure they get them. Okay, great. All right. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Because we're going to close up shop now. Yes? I think some arrangement will be made, but you'll have to work that out special because we don't want Gurudev signing every painting that goes out. You know, otherwise he won't have any time to write books.